Hello everybody, good morning. So, we took a break from trigonometry for a while, and I noticed some of you guys have been struggling with it. So the next set of assignments will involve trigonometry, for sure. Let's say at least the next 2 to 3. 2 out of the 3. So, anyways, let's go back to the basics, guys. Now, I just assigned this to you this morning, trigonometry or trigonometric ratios and right triangles. Okay? And as you can see, it's all you have to do is about 4 questions. But anyways, what this comes down to, guys, is do you remember some old hippie caught another hippie tripping over apples? SOHCAHTOA, right? In other words, sine, that's what the S stands for, is opposite hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent hypotenuse. And tangent is opposite adjacent. Now, hopefully that at least sounds familiar. But guys, let's just practice this together and see if we can understand it. So, here we have a right triangle. Notice the right angle there. And they want us to find the cosine of alpha. That's the question, right? Here is little angle alpha right there. So the first thing I taught you is step 1, find the angle you're talking about. We found it. I circled it right there. Second step is I label my sides. Notice the 12 is opposite of it. Op, short for opposite. Notice the 35 right here is next to alpha. We call that adjacent. Add, short for adjacent. And of course, 37 is technically next to angle alpha here as well. But remember, if you look carefully, that's your hypotenuse. The longest side is always your hypotenuse. Also, the side that's opposite the right angle is always the hypotenuse. So there's a couple ways you should be able to recognize the hypotenuse. But anyways, if they want the cosine of alpha, the cosine of alpha is going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. So all I need to do is take my adjacent. Everyone agree my adjacent is 35. And put that over my hypotenuse, which is 37. So this is what you're going to pick down there. Cosine is always adjacent over hypotenuse. Okay? Let's try another one. They want the tangent of alpha. So step 1, we mark our angle, find our angle we're talking about. There's alpha. Now, step 2, let's label our sides. Notice the 21 is opposite of it. It's on the other side of it. Notice the 29 is the hypotenuse. That by far is the longest side. Notice the 20 is right next to alpha. We call that adjacent. See, anything in real life adjacent to you guys is next to you. All right? Now, let's get to the problem. They want tangent. Now, remember, tangent is tripping over apples. In other words, the tangent of our alpha here, okay, is going to be the opposite, 21, over the adjacent, 20. So this is what you're going to pick down there. So tangent's always opposite adjacent. Cosine is always adjacent hypotenuse. All right, let's try another one. They want us to find the sine of beta. Step 1, let's mark our angle. There's our angle beta. Step 2, let's find or label the sides. Notice how the 15 is across from it. That's opposite. Notice the 17 is the longest side. It's the hypotenuse. Notice the 8 is right next to beta. That's my adjacent. Now this time they wanted the sine of beta. Remember, sine is some old hippie. In other words, the sine of our angle beta is simply going to be the opposite, 15, over the hypotenuse, 17. So again, sine is always opposite hypotenuse. Tangent is always opposite adjacent. Cosine is always adjacent hypotenuse. And that's what SOHCAHTOA tells us. Let's do one more, and we'll call it quits on this, hopefully. So they want the cosine of alpha. So step one, let's find our angle. Boom, there's alpha. Step two, label our sides. Notice 7 is opposite. Notice the 24 is adjacent. Notice the 25 is the hypotenuse, the longest side. All right, so if they want cosine, remember cosine is caught another hippie. So cosine of alpha is going to be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And that's what you're going to pick down there. Guys, this is one of the most important things you should have learned from me this year. I'm still really upset that we're not in class learning more different things. We're definitely hampered now and limited to what I can teach you. And that being said, I just want to remind you that what we just did was understanding where these buttons on our calculator come from. What I just circled is sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay? In a future video, we're going to learn to use the second button. And when we press sine, we're actually going to be able to do sine inverse on it. Okay? If I press second, okay, and do instead cosine, I'm going to get cosine inverse. And of course, I could do the same thing with tangent to get tangent inverse. So, anyways, guys, hopefully this all makes sense. Hopefully you already pretty much know what you're doing. But I reassigned this to give you another shot at it in case you forgot about it. And if you have to, just search it. Trigonometric ratios in right triangles. If you type in that title, guys, in the search window of Khan Academy, it will pop up for you. Okay? See you around.